The USA Today story talking about it was a banner year for CEO pay gains this whole year. In John Hammergren of the McKesson Corporation, the healthcare services CEO, pulled in $150.7 million. Ralph Lauren, who I guess is the head of Ralph Lauren, got $75.2 million in compensation. Mark Donegan of Precision Cast Parts, $32.3 million.
DemocracyNow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
Well, across the country, fast food workers in about 150 cities are walking off the job in their largest effort yet to push for higher wages. All of this comes as a new report exposes how fast food CEOs have not just saved money by paying workers for low wages, they've also used the government to subsidize their own million-dollar salaries with taxpayer dollars. That's because a loophole in the tax code lets companies deduct the cost of performance-based executive pay.
For more, we go to Washington, D.C., where we're joined by Sarah Anderson. She wrote the report, Fast Food CEOs Rake in Taxpayer-Subsidized Pay. She's with the Institute for Policy Studies. Sarah, how does it work?
Well, this is a perverse loophole in our tax code that essentially means that the more corporations pay their CEO, the less they pay in taxes. And that's because there is this loophole that allows companies to deduct unlimited amounts from their corporate income taxes for the expense of executive pay, as long as it's so-called performance pay, so stock options and other bonuses that are configured in a way to qualify for this tax loophole. And what it means essentially is that ordinary taxpayers are subsidizing excessive CEO pay. And we looked in this report at how much the top 6 fast food corporations are benefiting from this tax loophole. And it was really astounding. The most extreme example was the CEO of Yum Brands. That's the company that runs the KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut chains. And their CEO, just in the past couple of years, has raked in $94 million of this so-called performance pay, and that translates into a tax benefit for Yum Brands of $33 million. Exactly. Yeah, well, there is a cap on the tax deductibility of executive pay at $1 million, but that doesn't cover the performance pay. So what they tend to do is give CEOs somewhere around $1 million worth of salary and other non-performance-based pay that you just get automatically, and then structure the rest of it in a way so that it can qualify for this tax deduction. It's called performance-based pay, but there's been a lot of research done to show that even when a CEO is performing miserably, they can still rig the rules and qualify for this performance-based compensation.
The Institute for Policy Studies has come up with a study. What they did is they looked into the numbers that the top 500 companies were paying, whether it was in taxes or whether it was to their CEOs. And they found something amazing. I'm going to tell you that in a second. First, let me just give you the pedestrian numbers. The average pay for an S&P 500 CEO was $10.8 million. Over the last year, that was a 27.8% increase. So if you think everybody's struggling in this economy, you're totally wrong. The CEOs are doing fantastic. 25 out of the top 100 companies paid their CEOs more than they paid in federal income tax. So, for example, one of the CEOs got paid $13.8 million, and his company only paid $13 million in federal taxes. How is that possible? Because, of course, what they've done is they've found every single loophole you could imagine, mainly offshore tax havens. They take advantage of all of that. And in fact, a lot of these companies wind up getting tax bonuses. GE is a great example of that, where they get hundreds of millions of dollars back from the United States government. Oh, no, of course, don't pay taxes. Here you go. This is what we're going to do instead. So, well, these companies, though, they probably didn't pay the taxes because they probably didn't have enough in profits, right? I mean, you can't pay taxes if you don't have profits. So let's take a look at their profits. Well, the 25 firms that paid their CEO more than they paid in taxes actually averaged a profit of $1.9 billion. By the way, the CEOs of those 25 companies, they get paid even more than the average CEO. Why? Because they're not paying any taxes, so they get to keep more of it. Their average pay, $16.7 million.
And according to the AFL-CIO, CEO pay has gone from $42 for every $1 a worker made in 1982 to $354 for every dollar a worker made in 2012. It's time to raise the wage. According to Forbes, the top 25 CEOs of hedge funds, the top 25 earners at hedge funds, earn more than all 500 of the top CEOs in the Fortune 500 combined. It's time to raise the wage. In 2007, one CEO made $3 billion. $3 billion is $400 a second. It will take a minimum wage worker working full-time 198,000 years. Some things bear repeating. It will take a minimum wage worker 198,000 years to make what that CEO made in 1 year.